Jason Miller, Trump campaign comms director, hasn't slept all night, but he's up here this morning early. And Jason, good morning to you. I want to get into what we're hearing behind the scenes about the Biden camp in a moment. But first of all, let's react to what happened last night. I made the comment that immediately on Monday this past week in Milwaukee, Eric Trump especially, in interview after interview after interview, he said his father's a changed man. And then Don Jr. was saying something similar. Can you say that he is a changed man today? And that speech last night, which was a little longer and perhaps a little slower with less enthusiasm, reflects his state of mind today as he thinks about what only happened 6 days ago.
Well, absolutely. I mean, keep in mind that speech that he delivered last night was only 5 days after an assassination attempt.
Incredible.
I couldn't even sit through the speech with a dry eye. And how you could stand up there and deliver that, I think is one of the great all-time speeches. I mean, the whole convention was great, but that speech and that call for unity, that I'm only here because of the grace of, by the grace of the Almighty God, so many powerful lines that were delivered. This whole week, the contrast between the unity with Republicans, but the division by the Democrats, that's why they're freaking out. That's why there's this new acceleration to try to get rid of Joe Biden, because they realize President Trump has remade this Republican Party and it's united.
One of the things I really appreciated and would love to learn more at some point, maybe he'll do an interview and be asked about it, is he said, I know you want to hear this story, and I'm going to tell it to you in detail, but you'll never hear me say it again because it's too painful to go through. And I think that's also a very interesting sort of coping mechanism for somebody who has gone through something so traumatic. Do you have any insight into that decision?
Well, earlier in the week when he walked in and said, I want to tell the story, and we asked him about Saturday and the shooting, and he goes, everybody's asking. I feel like I have to tell them. But he goes, I only want to do it once.
I think it's great instincts.
It was, because people did. They want to know. He's going to be the leader of the free world again. What's it like when you're in that moment? How can we count on you? Because there's no leadership from the White House. People are looking to President Trump to say, we need you in this time of national crisis, even while they just tried to kill you a couple days earlier.
I think it can be a disarming statement, too, when you think about how many interviews he's going to do between now and the next 115 days. Before the election, and every reporter is going to want to ask him about it. And now he has the opportunity to say, I told you, I'm only going to talk about it one time.
Right.
The Biden campaign was quick to respond to last night. Here we go. No parties ever talk less about their agenda at their convention than Donald Trump's Republican Party, because they know how just unpopular the agenda is. Trump simply is not capable of talking about the issues that matters to voters. A lot of people are going to hear about this campaign 2025. I thought what was interesting on the script last night and watching him read on the teleprompter is that he consistently referred to the Republican National Committee platform. So is that what you fall back on when Democrats come at you from Project 25 and the Heritage Foundation?
Well, the great thing about President Trump is he tells you exactly what he's thinking. When he says, these are my principles, this is what I'm running on, that's what the Republican platform is. I've been in Republican politics a long time, and there are relics of the Cold War that were still in there, and random policies no one had ever even heard of in more than a generation. So President Trump really condensed it, said, this is what I'm running on. So if it's on the donaldjtrump.com website, then it's a matter of his policy. Or if you hear him say it at a rally or in a speech, that is his policy. What anyone else says, even if they say that they're allies or friends, no, it's what President Trump says is what matters.
I think it's interesting that the Biden campaign would say nobody has not given details. It's like, hello, we have no idea even who your candidate might be. And so I want to get your take on that, because you're a political genius as well. What do you think is happening on their side as they look at this? They're reporting that Biden is now thinking he's going to have to pull out.
Well, they're in a tough spot. Keep in mind, all the brain talent, and that's, again, I'm being a little bit generous, at the Biden White House are gone. They don't have any grand strategists. They don't have surrogates. They have a candidate who, by the way, is just, frankly, cognitively impaired. So they're in disarray. They're also in a bit of that bunker mentality. They're in shell shock. They don't know what direction to go. But here's the thing. Joe Biden can be very unpopular with the Democrat base, but to force him out is almost impossible. And here's the reason why this political coup gets so tricky. They can't force him out from the race, but then say you can stay in the White House. If you're too incompetent for one, you're too incompetent for the other. But when you look at the mechanics of that Dem convention, some 3,700 of the 3,800 regular Democrat delegates are bound to Biden on that first round. And nobody has a whip operation. And the other thing, too, keep in mind, you have to have someone to beat someone. Nobody wants Kamala. Even Democrats don't want Kamala. So to actually go in and mechanically remove that, the one final thing I'll say, there are going to be legal challenges if Joe Biden were to step aside or if they try to force him out. People saying that there was an obstruction with an official proceeding, that there's some kind of manipulation of their vote. Also, the other thing, too, Joe Biden cannot transfer that money, the hundreds of millions of dollars, over to Kamala Harris until he's actually the nominee. Otherwise, it go to the DNC. I know this is getting a little bit in the weeds, but it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. We got to go, but I just want to ask you one more question. Apparently, Jen O'Malley Dillon's going to do an interview now this morning, his campaign chair. So we'll see what her position is and what she has to say.
And you saw her.
But here's my question. You talked to a lot of people, and you saw the reporting last night that he was going to get out possibly by Sunday. Based on everything you've heard, from all the people you talked to, does that sound possible to you?
No, because I think Joe Biden is so stubborn and self-centered. He thinks that God sent him to this earth to try to stop President Trump. And again, Joe Biden's looking at saying, I'm going to get pushed aside by Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi. Heck no, his legacy is built on being in office. He does not want to go down in such a humiliating fashion.
We will see together in time. Thank you.
Well, congrats to the Republican Party. That was a heck of a convention. Well done.
And a genius speech by President Trump.
Great to have you.
Nice to see you. Jason
Thank
Miller.
you.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.